By this video, I'm going to show you how to do a basic workspace setup of Hibernate. The example what I'm going to use over here is to create an application named person details and is responsible to process the details of person represented as Pojo named person. Create a Java project named person details. Create a package com.person.details for Pojo class named person. In person class, we define the necessary properties of person details. Need to be processed to database. For now, we just considered ID and name with getter and setter. Create a client class. For that, first we create a package client, and within this package create a class client with main method to make this class as an entry point of application. In order to use the Hibernate capabilities, we need to add the required jars. First, add ANTLR, common collection, DOM4j, Java Assist, JTA, and SL4j.jar. We also required Hibernate JPA API.jar and the Hibernate 3.jar. These many jars are required by the Hibernate. In order to communicate with the database, we also require the database driver jar file. Add hsqldb.jar. To access the basic functionality, we need to create an instance of session factory class that should contain the database connection details and mapping details. For that, create a Hibernate configuration file named hibernate.cfg.xml. Create a package named XML, and in this package, I'm going to place the Hibernate configuration XML file, hibernate.cfg.xml. Should have all the details to connect to database, and also few of the Hibernate specific properties need to be set, like hibernate.hvm to dll.auto. If set to create, then with every execution of application, the Hibernate drops the mapping table if already exists in the database and make the fresh one again. Now to populate a database specific details, first we need a driver class. Next, connection URL. In our case, JDBC, HSQLDB, HSQL, localhost. Also need to provide the username and password. All done. Now I'm gonna start the HSQLDB database. So need a path of the server class file. Open the terminal, add the jar to class path and execute the server class file to start the database. In a client, I already created a session factory. Next we have to retrieve a session from session factory. We request the factory to return the current session. If there is no such session, then session factory will create a new one and return. Next, we specify the transaction boundaries, and within the boundaries, perform all the database specific operations. Create a person instance, populate it with appropriate values, and request the session to process the person. Now, let's check the database. For that, I'm using GUI clients. There is no table exists so far. With database connection configuration in XML, we also need to provide the metadata, the details to Hibernate of which Pojo need to persist and what should be the mapping structure. By that I mean which Pojo attributes need to persist to which column of the database. For that, I'm gonna use the person.hvm.xml file already declared in the Hibernate configuration file. In hvm.xml file, map the Pojo class person with attribute ID. In XML, the ID get mapped to primary key of the person at database end. I want Hibernate to manage the generation of key, so setting the attribute of it to native. Next, mapping property name also. Let's execute it. In order to display the backend command managed by the Hibernate, we need to set the properties show SQL to true in Hibernate configuration file. Execute the application once again. That's it. Let's check the database. Okay, person table is there.